Hi Darius, your beats have echoed through warehouses, festivals, and underground clubs across the world, and your selections always mark you out as someone who has their roots in rave and their heart in house. As the force behind Moxy Muzik, you've created not just a label but a movement that champions real, no nonsense dance music and throws some of the most talked about parties on the circuit. We can't wait to dive into your story. So, with that, welcome to the House Culture Podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm good. And firstly, I want to say thanks for having me. Looking forward to it. I like doing podcasts where it's in depth and it's not just a quick interview, which is 10 minutes long. So, um,
You're
this
in
is
the
good.
right place.
All right.
Perfect. Well, look, we always like to start at the beginning. So, before moving to the UK, you spent your early years growing up in Tehran. What was it like discovering music there when you were very young?
Well, there's a pretty big misconception of what Iran's like and Tehran's like, to be honest.
Hmm.
Um, in the 80s, 70s and 80s, it was like, I don't know, Chicago,
Yeah.
big place with skyscrapers. There's money in Iran, and it's not like Iraq or Afghanistan, but people think that just because of the way the media is and how things are portrayed. But my family, my dad's a senior scientist. All my family were like quite educated, and we had pretty big houses, and I had a good life there. And people think when I came to the UK, suddenly life got amazing. It was actually for me as a kid the opposite. I had a great life in Tehran. We lived in the outskirts in the mountains, and like it was like massive houses. We had swimming pools, and my musical first introduction to music being 5, 6 years old. Um, my mum and dad always had music in the house, but my uncle used to drive around. He had this Buick, like a big American car,
Yeah.
and he was big into electro. Um, and I used to listen to them all. And I remember when cassette tape to tape things came about, I
Hmm.
used to listen to all the music, and then I'd choose which tracks that I wanted to listen in which order.
Yeah.
And I was only like 7. And it was all like Human League and Alison Moyet, New Order,
Hmm.
stuff like that, electronic and synthesized music.
Yeah.
And I used to love that. And I'd sit there and just listen all day, every day, and I loved it. And so that's how I got into music.
Yeah.
Um, and then obviously the war started. Um, it was quite I don't know, a, a difficult time as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then when I came to England, the only reason we managed to come to England was my dad's a senior scientist, so we got invited to come to the UK.
Yeah.
But people always think like refugees, they're always scroungers and stuff, and it's quite the opposite. My dad and mum brought all their money, sold our house, brought all the money into like UK economy,
Mm.
and he wasn't allowed to work, even though he was invited here by the Home Office because he's one of the best in his field as a doctor.
Yeah.
So technically, we're asylum seekers, and we had to wait to get the documents. So I went from living in a massive mansion
Yeah.
to living in, and it was Bradford Uni that my dad was going to be taught, lecturing Bradford Uni and stuff. So at
Yeah.
first we lived there and into a semi-detached house in Bradford, and we ate off paper plates and stuff like that. And at
Yeah.
school, everyone was like, terrorist this, terrorist that, fucking. And then Lockerbie bombing happened, and even though it
Oh
had nothing
God.
to do with Iran, I got so much abuse at school, and I absolutely fucking hated it. Sorry to swear on your podcast, but
No, no, no. You can say whatever you want.
hated it.
Yeah.
But I knew that then I started hearing this music like acid house kind of. My older brother was friends with neighbours
Yeah.
who were two massive lads who used to weightlift in the garage, right? And then the people that did the illegal raves in West Yorkshire, they used them as security because even illegal raves need some kind of security, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my brother was friends with them, my older brother. So they were like, "Do you want to come to you know, like a party?" And I thinking I'm going to go drink cider and garden up or something. I pull up at York Racecourse where there's the horse racing and that. And I remember there was Prodigy was playing, Enjoy, all those
Yeah.
tracks, like those kind
Yeah.
of early tracks were playing, and it was pissing it down. But I was like, what the fuck's this music? And you can't fake goosebumps, but every time I tell this story, I get goosebumps because how good it was.
Yeah.
But what was good about it was at school, people treated me like I was an outsider, but they didn't at these raves. And I remember the first one, not one person talked to me any different or looked at me any different. And then after going to a few of them, I realised that everyone's loved up and everyone doesn't care. And it's like, actually, it's not so bad, and I love this. So obviously I was at school, then obviously sixth form college, and we had our own crew, which would go to raves. And then couple of years later, my dad got headhunted to move to work down south. And then after that to Toronto, I was like, I don't want to leave my rave crew, right? So there's this course I want to do at uni. I need to do it here. It was fucking all a lie. I just wanted to not stop being with my rave crew, right? So there was James Beavers, Nibby, and Steve, and James had decks. And back then, not many people had decks.
Yeah.
Now everyone's a deck, right?
Yeah.
Not many people had decks. So it was like early 90s. And I wasn't even old enough to go to clubs, to be honest. Like, just left school, 16, whatever, and college. But I knew that James, my friend, he was older. He had everyone respected him. He had a Honda CRX. He had the decks. So I used to sit behind him. It was like a tiny sports car. We'd go to all these illegal raves, but we'd go to what you got to remember is there was no internet.
No.
So there was no internet. There was no mobile phones. So you had to meet at service stations, and there'd be a phone call. I've actually got some pictures from back in the day, but obviously there's a podcast, but one day I'll post them. Get on the phone, and they'd say which service station it's going from. But everyone would give a £5, and like £5 back then was worth a lot. Like, I don't know, probably 20, 30 quid now or whatever, maybe more. So everyone would have to give a £5 to this illegal convoy of cars that would leave, like 7 or 8 of them. Now, the police would then follow them. So then we'd be free to go to the real rave. And I remember after the raves, we'd come back to services, and you should have seen the faces of the staff, serving tea and coffee and that. Why is everybody wearing white gloves and whistles and woolly hats and shit? It was fucking brilliant, and I loved it. That was my life. But then, obviously, I started realizing that I want to do this as well. I want to DJ. So I said to James, "Do you want to can you teach me?" And he taught me on vinyl, and then I knew that to buy records, it was like $7.99. And the music that I liked, that I worked out that I liked, was the US imports, the US house. Which is still like the music that I play now, pretty much. I've never changed. I've never jumped onto any hype bandwagon. So I remember like hearing Paperclip People Throw by Carl Craig for the first time, and that was like mind blowing. So I had to put this cassette on. Everyone used to put their cassette there at the service stations afterwards. And mine always got ejected straight away. Like, what's this, Darius? And throw the cassette away. And I didn't get it. Everybody was into piano anthems, Italo house, ding ding, and I didn't really feel that. I wanted the groovy shit. So when I'd go to these raves, the earlier stuff, it's when they play all the US house and Strictly Rhythm. And like that kind of stuff, and like Cleveland City and all those labels. And I'd love the beginning bit, and then it'd go into the piano anthems, and I'd be like, I'm done now. Like, but that's how I got into it. That's a long answer to your question anyway.
No, amazing. No, that's perfect. This is what we're here for, to hear all these like long, in-depth answers. So, I mean, obviously from a very, very young age, and you got that inspiration, and you got some inspired to DJ, learning how to do it. I mean, how are you financing kind of getting hold of some decks or buying records at this point when you're quite young?
This is what does my head in now about people who buy illegal downloads. Just buy it for 99p, bro. Or if you're a female DJ, just buy it, right? Because when I wanted a record then, and especially the sound that I liked, it was $7.99 for an import. There was no other way. There was no digital downloads, no CDJs. You had to get that piece of wax. So I said, "Where'd you get your records, James?" And there's a shop in Bradford called Global Beat. So I went in and I said, "Guys, I'll work on Saturdays for free, just for records." And they're like, I suppose I could do someone running around. And record shops back then were so busy. Even though there wasn't that many DJs, the villages and towns around didn't have, so people traveled to come to them.
Yeah.
And Global Beat was a Cool Cuts shop, which did a chart for Pete Tong, so it was quite a big shop.
Yeah.
So first they'd get me around bringing boxes, this, that, the other. But then when a customer had asked for a certain track, a remix, I'd think, well, I know the answer to this. So I'd shout it out, and they were like, how do you know that? And I was like, yeah, because it's so. And I I because I used to read DMC Update,
Yeah.
and I'd listen to all the pirate radio stations, and I'd listen to Pete Tong without, fail.
Yeah.
So I knew all the stuff, and they were started to like, okay, well, if you know this, do it. And within a few couple months, they were like, okay, well, do you want to work more than Saturdays? And I was like, well, yeah. And okay, so then it got to I got a job there part time, and then that became full time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember really well. It was 1996, and remember Armand van Helden, Tori Amos remix.
Oh, the Professional Widow.
Professional Widow. I remember I was at Cream, and that came on. I immediately knew this is going to be massive. It's going to be fucking massive, right? So I needed to know what it was.
Yeah.
And in the annex room, there was the decks, but you couldn't see the decks.
Yeah.
So I kept jumping up and holding on and looking what the record said. And it was white label, and it just said in a black marker, Professional Widow, Van Helden remix.
Yeah.
And I thought, right, just remember this. Everyone was talking like, remembered it on the Monday in the shop. It was fax machine. There was, when you put orders in. So I wrote, need to know what this is. Immediately a fax came back. They were like, okay, so how do you know about this? Because this is only on promo. Certain DJs have it. And it was John Please Women playing it at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I've heard it, and this is going to be big. And I went, okay, so if you can put it number one in the Cool Cuts chart for Pete Tong, because we want this to get radio, we can give you 10 free, but how many do you want to order? And I was like, I'll take a couple hundred. Right? Now, if a tune was big, you'd take 30 or 40, right?
Yeah.
And then restock. But I was that confident about it. And anyway, once the shop people found out that we have it, word spread.
Yeah.
So people were ringing up. I'm from Leicester, and I've heard you've got this record. Yeah, we've got it. I'm coming up. But anyway, there's two brothers that ran the shop, but Drew and Jeremy Prophet. But one of them, Drew Prophet, didn't know about this tune. On it was Jamie, actually. And he was in the attic upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd seen the fax with this order. So I could hear the stairs running down, door flies open, holding it. What have you done here? Why have you ordered all these? If these don't sell, you're getting sacked and all this crap. And I was like, trust me, it'll sell in front of all my favourite customers. Hang on, calm down. Anyway, they not only sold quick, we had to restock. And he was like, right, you clearly know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Offered me a full-time role managing the shop and everything. So that's how I got into it. But it started off, for free, working for records. And I used to work in a pizza shop as well.
Uh-huh.
So I'd go to raves, and then obviously I lived in student halls of residence, and James Vivas would drop us off, and I'd go to work in a flipping pizza shop on a Sunday on no sleep, and then I'd have college on Monday, and I used to fall asleep in flipping lectures and shit, and on the weekend I'd work in the record shop and then go raving. So
awesome.
It was a graft, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's how you get to where you are today. You know what I mean? You got to put those hours in, right?
It's been a slow trajectory because it took 15 years of the record shop until I made it DJ. There was no internet hype, there was no fads, there was no marketing. I made it the organic, original way, and through being a resident at Sankeys, and when you've worked in a record shop 15 years, you learn what makes people tick about records and stuff. So when it came to DJing, even though I wasn't touring internationally, I was playing, and I played with, even though I wasn't big, locally I was playing with Jeff, opening up for Jeff Mills one week, and then playing with Mr. C the next week, and total different styles, but I knew how to do it. But each time I'd smash it. And there's another story of how I eventually broke through. That's probably another question later in the podcast, but that's how I got into DJing properly.
Yeah. And understanding kind of the breadth of stuff that's out there. I mean, one of my questions about working in a record shop is, what did it ultimately teach you in terms of taste of music, in terms of people?
Um, that most people actually like more than one sound,
Hmm.
and which is odd because now when people buy music, you're searching for what you like,
Yeah.
and you're not coming across what you don't know you like yet.
Yeah.
Whereas with the record shop, you'd be stuck in there digging for what you
Yeah.
know you like,
Hmm.
and someone to get played, and you'd go, actually, what's this? You'd go to the counter and they'd go, oh, this is so and so, so on, a completely different genre.
Yeah.
But you'd go, I'll have one of them. And it used to make people get into other sounds. And that's why
Yeah.
DJs back then, I don't want to sound like an old fart, but this is how I still DJ,
Yeah. Yeah.
more eclectic. And they'd go
Hmm.
through more different genres. And that's why I still play like I do. And that's why people say to me all the time, you're one of the few DJs in Ibiza that can play for Solid Grooves, that can play
Yeah.
for Paradise Jamie Jones, but can play for Defected as well,
Yeah.
and have your own Moxy party. They're all different parties, but I have a sound which I can adapt to fit that party, and I enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it does work against you in a way because kids want to be a fan of something that's totally in one pigeonhole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
I'll do a tune which is big that they'll love, then I'll release on another label, which is a different sound, which they don't get.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm not into Darius. Do you know what I mean? Because they're
Yep.
so into just being pigeonholed into that one thing. But
Hmm.
on the plus side, you never have a backlash because when a hype sound has a backlash, everyone who sticks fully to that will also get a backlash. But I never stick to one sound, so
Yeah.
it has its plus and minuses. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And like having that excitement around being eclectic, I always find that, having a breadth, listening to a DJ has a breadth of taste is much more exciting and interesting to hear than someone who just
Yeah,
sticks in that one lane.
I'd say I agree with that, but only if you're a real music head.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, if you're just being a DJ or going clubbing because of it's cool and what your mates do, and you found a sound that you kind of like and you stick to that, then no. But and unfortunately, I'd say, and it's sad, but it's true that I'd say 85% of people who go to clubs
hmm,
not really truly passionate that much in their heart, like I was or other people are who are into it. I'd say 50% of the dance floor is always proper into it. It's their life. They eat, it, breathe it, wake it, sleep it, dream it, you know? But
yeah,
they're in the minority. And the
yeah,
majority just go with where everyone else gets told to go. And that's why you see suddenly DJs come out of nowhere and everyone likes them.
yeah,
Because most people like what everyone else likes.
yeah,
Um, so and that's where the marketing now comes in and Instagram and management
yeah,
companies and stuff like that. But I've never done any of that. So I know that all my fans are like hardcore, real fans,
yeah,
but I'm not. I haven't got a massive fan base where I can fill out 3,000 cap venues like shit like that. I mean, there was a point where I did, but I wasn't enjoying DJing as much when I was like that. I wouldn't,
yeah. Well, that was what I was going to say. Like, there could be a point where you could chase that, just that fame, but then how true is that to yourself and how enjoyable is that?
well, this comes to down to when I was space resident in 2016.
Hmm.
So obviously, off the back of being Sankeys resident, then I got privilege in Ibiza where I did every week. And nobody was touching that club at the time, but we did, and we did like a do not sleep party there, and we absolutely smashed it, right? And I
Hmm.
wanted to stay there, but Space asked us because obviously it was their final year,
Yeah.
and you don't turn down a residency at Space in its final year, dear. I actually did more shows than Carl Cox that year. I did
Oh
19.
wow. Yeah. Wow.
Um, and I did the closing the car park at sunset, which was absolutely fucking unreal.
Yeah.
But after that year, the kudos I got of being space resident in its final year, everyone wanted to book me, and my fees were going crazy, and I was getting booked for like parties where I was playing to like fucking 8,000-9,000 people and all over the place, all over the world.
Yeah.
And I realised that most of these people, they're just going because it's the big party to go to.
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
the real stuff that I want to play, they don't get.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
found myself making an extra side folder of music that just in case.
Mm-hmm.
And I realised I was going into that more than I want to.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't enjoying it. All right. So I said to my management at the time, I'm not feeling this. And then that's when I started doing this thing where I wanted to mix it up and still do more intimate parties. And that's when I decided I want to start Moxy Muzik.
Yeah.
My management were going, stop saying in interviews, you enjoy intimate parties, right? And I'd make excuses to play. So I'd do South in Manchester and Joshua Brooks at the time before the refurb. And I do not free parties. I do parties where all the money went to Manchester Children's Hospital and stuff like that. And they'd sell out like that. One sold out 1 week so quick. They did another one the week after and stuff. And I found that I'm doing a 6-hour set, and time's flying, and I'm absolutely loving it. But management stop saying this. You're driving your fees down, and I'm like, fucking. Anyway, so everything has a fucking shelf life of hype anyway. So I always knew that hype's going to fade off.
Mm.
And when I started Moxy, I went back to doing what I want to do, and I still do the massive parties. I did Warehouse Project, the main floor, it's 10,000 people, whatever. And I do big parties all over the world. And I just played in New York to a few thousand people, so I still do them, but I've got to a level now where I'm absolutely loving the shows and I play exactly what I want and I'm not compromising and I'm not bothered about pleasing the masses. I don't want to do it. I don't care. I earn more than I deserve as a DJ anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be number one. And I see some older DJs, it really hurts them when they see these upcoming acts come through and they're suddenly massive.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the nature of the game. That has to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise the scene will die.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
If you don't have and with Moxy, I get behind upcoming acts.
Mm-hmm.
I just did a Radio 1 interview with Josh Baker. He used to be on the dance floor when I was playing at Sankeys.
Yeah.
When he was 16.
Yeah.
And fair play to him. He's massive now. How he's done the marketing and everything, and he's just brilliant at that. And he's got great management who do it properly, and his productions and everything. He deserves everything he's got. Mm-hmm. And he's flying. But he did a Radio 1 thing and he invited me. It was an ode to Manchester. And we did an interview and a guest mix. And of all the things in Manchester he could have asked, he asked me, which was good. It's like, big up, Josh. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of other bigger DJs who've been around a while don't like upcoming acts coming through and breaking through. It's like, it bothers them. But with Moxy, I've given releases to a lot of DJs who started out their first ever vinyl and then they've gone on to be massive. And there's so many acts like Fleur Shaw. When she started, I got her agent, put her on sold out shows in London, Manchester, Leeds, put her on my Rinse FM show when nobody knew who she was. I mean, I've even interviewed like Seth Troxler on that, on my Rinse FM show, which I was doing at the time. I did the same with Pac. I gave Paige Thompson a first ever gig in a club. Mm-hmm. More recently, I've got behind Olive F, and she's absolutely flying right now. But everybody has that hype period, and then it comes back down, and then So when I see older DJs moan about new acts, it does my head in. I'm like, you're embarrassing yourself, man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like they should behave in the way that they should nurture this new talent. Because, like you say, if this new talent doesn't come through, and the younger people get enthused about it and following, the new talent that's coming through, then the scene isn't going to survive, is it? As it moves forward.
Exactly, that's what keeps the scene going.
Totally. Yeah, so. And I mean, so I wanted to talk about Moxy Muzik kind of specifically a bit further on, but before we go into that, we were talking around, your career kind of taking off, and you did mention, this is my next question now, like what was that moment where you thought maybe I could do this for real, or this could be my career, or a big gig that might have come your way?
There's two moments really.
Mm-hmm.
One is where I could make this a job where I could probably just get by, but I'm doing what I love.
Yeah.
And there's another one where I realized actually this is more than that. This is like I could actually, you know what I mean? So the first one was when obviously Um, 2008 was probably one of the lowest points in my life. So I'd done the record shop for like nearly 15 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was playing at Sankeys in Manchester. I'd play for 50 quid top room.
Yeah.
I had to play for a few hours. And I had to play all the places where I'd get paid hardly anything. But I didn't mind because I had my record shop,
Mm-hmm.
which I was doing, and which was Crash Records in Leeds.
Yeah.
And I loved my life, and I loved the fact that I was around music all day. But I was skint. I didn't own a car. I was renting a house. I didn't even have a credit card because the money that I made was very modest. But I didn't mind because if you're doing what you love, you don't need all that stuff really to be
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was with a girl and I'd been with her for like 6, 7 years, and I'd started to put parties on, and we were doing the flyer. I was doing the flyer one time, and I didn't come and watch telly, and she's like, "You're just married to your music," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, it's my passion." And she's like, "Yeah, but you're trying to do this, and it's like all this, and what do you get out of it?" And I'm like, I can do a party and not make any money, and there's 400 people, but I have a great time and I enjoy it. So I realised that to other people around me, it looked like I was wasting my time. Even though the parties that I did play, I'd smash it, And in Manchester, when I did my gigs, like, everyone would always come and say, "When you play next time, I love what you play."
Yeah.
But then the record shop had to close, right? Because CDJs had become a big thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And at this point, I'm now 30 years old.
Yeah.
Whatever. And I'm thinking, fucking hell. If the record shop shuts, I've got to get a 9 to 5.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I do not want to do this.
No.
I said I'll never work for anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Now I've got to wear a suit probably and fucking go and do an office job. And I got a degree in like illustration and art and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But even that, I'd have to work for someone else. And I'm like, I don't want to do this, man.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, one last go. I'm going to start producing. I've just been learning to produce. I'm going to do proper. I'm going to give it a go like this, right? And I remember it was that bloody summer when Rihanna Under the Umbrella tune was out. And it fucking rained. If you Google it now, right?
Yeah. 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 Actually, I remember that. Yeah. Yeah.
It rained for like 6 weeks in a row, like drizzle. That was a shit summer, right?
Yeah.
And I remember all I did was make tunes, and it was June Euro semi-final 2008. I think Spain won it that year, but they were playing in the semi-final, and I'd gone to Leeds to have a drink with some mates, and I was that skint that I walked home because I didn't get a taxi, and it's like a 35-minute walk to Headingley, and that's when I thought I've got to change my life. I have got to make music, and I've got to get these music signed to labels and get an inroads that way.
Yeah.
I play at Sankeys. Loads of big DJs come to Sankeys, so I can give it to them that way, right?
Yeah.
And I started making some tracks with this kid called Naira, who's like, we blew up together. Then he wanted to do his own thing, and I think he became a professional cyclist. It didn't really work out musically for him, but then he's back again. He's actually doing some massive stuff. Although his sounds changed completely, it's more like piano anthems, but that's what he's doing now. But at the time we were making like music for Steve Lawler and those kind of labels, and 8-bit and Get Physical and that kind of stuff, Viva Warriors. And Steve Lawler was huge at that time, massive. And I remember David Vincent, who runs Sankeys, said to me, "Darius, Greg Vickers is in South America. The opening guy I've got who's going to play, Steve didn't want him to do it because he slammed it too much, and asked, have you got someone who knows how to warm up? So I know you can do it." So I thought, fucking finally you asked me. But the best thing I wasn't opening up. I was playing before Steve Lawler. So there was an opener.
Right.
I knew that I'm playing now, right? What was it? Something like 11 till 1 a.m. or something, right? So there was an opener. It was heaving that night, right? And we'd made these tunes, me and Naira and loads of other ones. And I remember thinking I can't play these because these go off, and you want someone to warm up.
Yeah.
But everyone keeps holding their little Nokias up, and it says, "What's your name? When you playing here next?" That kind of thing. And then Steve, I've never met Steve Lawler in my life. He came in and his entourage and his brother, Adrian Lawler, and all his crew, and I was like trying to mix like this, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna play these. I've got 20 minutes left, and because I actually put them in and took them out. I thought, oh, fuck it, I'm playing them. Get out of the way, guys. I got my CD, put it in. And I had a little Sony or Sanyo or whatever, like little, which flips open, little camcorder.
Yeah.
Tune goes off, and Steve Lawler, you can hear his voice going, "Hey, mate, what's this?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's new on the mind." Next one. And I said, "Listen, you can have these." And they all went off.
Yeah.
I had my email and name on it. And I gave him the CD. Went to the side, watched him come on. Everyone went mental, and I thought, right, it's booze rammed. I've got still work in the record shop tomorrow because obviously the record shop was running down till 2009 February.
Yeah,
I've got to go. I've got to be up early. So, and I was seeing this girl at the time. Obviously, I split up my missus because she was like, so there was this other girl I was hanging around with, and she was like, Darius, she was driving us, and she was like, Darius, I don't think you realise how good you played there. Yeah. And I'm thinking, I know I'm good. I just haven't had a break. And I went, yeah, nice one. In my head, I'm like, you've no idea how fucking good I know I am. I know I am, because when you work in a record shop 15 years, you understand music.
Absolutely.
And you're around it 9 to 5 non-stop. But, you know, I was to keep it humble, and I was like, yeah. She's like, can you do me a mix? I'm like, yeah, I'll do you a mix. Anyway, I totally forgot that I gave Steve Lawler this CD, right? So I'm in the shop on Monday. And this is now August 2008. So the Olympics is on. Yeah. And I'm looking at the on my laptop is open, and I'm looking for like Iran's Olympic weightlifting result, because one of them got a gold medal or something. Paul worked in the shop. Yeah. He was such a top guy. I've lost touch with that. I need to fucking hook up with him again. Paul did all the hip hop and R&B and like dubstep and that kind of stuff, and drum bass, and I did all the house techno and stuff like that. Anyway, so he's putting his stuff away, and Darius, there's an email come for you. So all the rack of records are behind us. Then there was the counter, and he went, "Isn't that guy you played with, Steve Lawler, that massive house DJ?" And I went, "What?" He goes, "An email's just popped up." I went, "How'd you got my email?" "Oh yeah, my CD, quick." So I'm like, and it's like, "Hi mate, you're that DJ opening up for me. I loved what you played, but I also loved those tracks you gave me. One of them I played twice at We Love Space in Ibiza."
Oh, shit. Yeah, wow.
"Is it signed?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'd set up a label called Breakout Audio, which was my own. It was called Breakout Audio, which meant I'm going to break out of this into the industry. I don't know, mate, these are mine. And if you want something like this for your label, I can do it, but you're only getting it if you could take me on tour. Now, I just said it. And I know the reason I said it is because he'd recently taken on Simon Baker on tour, South America.
Yeah.
And Simon Baker was making some wicked music at the time and stuff. Yeah. And I thought, well, he can take me then, can't he? Anyway, he came back blunt. He went, "Listen, I don't want to hassle that. I've only just met you. Like, come on, man." Like, and I went, "Okay, well, listen, give me a project." And he went, "Well, I've got a release by Livio and Roby. If you can remix it and make it sound as good as these, I'll consider it." So I did it. He loved it. Then he was like, me and Nairo were working on this tune called Luis Conte. And I actually sampled a drummer at a jazz festival talking on a mic about a drummer called Luis Conte, who's a percussionist. And he was talking about how this drummer wanted to learn off Luis Conte how to do like proper Latin percussion. And apparently he was like the drummer for like, what's her name? Jennifer Lopez and all those people in Miami. And we put it over the top of this track, and we made this track. And I remember there was a bit where we had this like horn looping, and Nairo wasn't feeling it. And I was like, "Mate, this is going to go off." He was like, "No, man, it's not on trend." I was like, "But it's good." We had an argument. He was staying at my house. So my studio was in the basement of this like house in Headingley, Kirkstall. And he stormed off to bed. We had a ding dong. And I thought, I'm finishing this. I'm fucking sending it to Steve. So I sent it. Next morning, he make him poached eggs, getting ready to go in the studio again. Email from Steve Lawler again. Mate, this is fucking amazing. Da 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 da. I'm gonna get Nick Curley to remix. Nick Curley was massive at the time as well at 8-bit. Gonna get Nick Curley to remix it. Anyway, it came out. Went straight to number one on Beatport. And number one on Beatport was massive then.
Yeah.
Like now it's all Spotify playlist in it, but then it was Beatport. How you gauged if something was good.
Yeah.
And Steve was like, right. I'm going to take you two on tour. I'm like, what? I'm signing this. I'm going to take you on tour. And I'm thinking, Ryan, because Naira, I gave him his name. He was called Ryan. So I've moved the letters around. Like, Ryan, Steve's taking us on tour. He went, you what? I said, yeah, mate, he's taking us on tour. I'm like, oh my God. So anyway, I'm in next few days. I'm waiting for this call. So I'm in, leave the record shop. And I'm going down, what's it called? I forgot the name of that road that goes down to the train station. I'm walking down. His brother calls, Adrian Lawler, and he's like, right, have you got a pen? I'm like, yeah. Right, we're going on tour on these places. And I'm thinking he's going to say Sheffield, Newcastle, whatever. And he's like, right, Miami, LA, Vancouver, this place, that. And I just stopped in the street and I'm like, fucking hell. This is fucking insane. And I'm like trying to fucking write it down. And I just can't. My head's going like berserk. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like real DJing shit. Like, I get goosebumps when I tell this story as well. And I'll never forget that moment. It was so fucking powerful.
Yeah.
When you've done it and done all the gigs where the DJ promoter hasn't paid you, and you've gone to London, spent more money to play, just to play, and the train backs cost you more money. You've stayed awake because you can't afford a hotel in King's Cross train station.
Yeah.
Keeping yourself busy till the first train, and all of that shit that I did paying off, And
Incredible.
It was fucking mad. And then I did this tour but the mad thing is, we did all these shows, right? And then Naira was like, I don't want to, Steve Lawler, it's not my sound. I'm like, what are you doing? Dude, what are you doing? You're fucking insane. He's like, no, I want to do this. I want to do mine. He wanted to be really like cool and Villa Lobos and all that. And I was like, okay, so we'll have to split them. But luckily, we'd call ourselves Darius Syrossian and Naira, so I still got my name.
Yeah.
But I was like, right, I've got to fucking make this count, So that's when I did all fucking... there was loads of big tunes that I did at the time in 2012.
Yeah.
And I made that Who's Douche EP.
Yep.
With House is House and all those things. But loads of others. Everything I made seems to go massive. It was so weird. Every track I released went to number one. And that's when I was on tour with Steve Lawler in America, and I got a phone call from the guys at Sankeys saying, all right, Darius, we want to make you a resident of the main room and a monthly resident, because people keep asking when you're playing next. I'm like, oh my God. And that Steve's going, hang on, if I want to take you on tour, what happens here then? So I'm thinking, hang on a minute. So it's gone from like, these people are fighting over me.
Yeah,
and
wow.
And I did my first season in 2012, because obviously 4 years then grafted. And then I did the album, Viva Warriors album. And the moment which really, really, really hit me was I was so busy that I wasn't even thinking of what I was doing. And Viva Warriors was smashing it at Sankeys Ibiza. And I'm there, and I got told Pete Tong's going to do live from Ibiza, Radio 1 Weekender.
Yeah.
And there's 4 DJs they're going to do. Jamie Jones, Tinny, who else was it? Like, I can't remember, Sven Vath or whatever. And you. And I'm like, oh, fucking hell. Live from Sankeys Ibiza. Radio 1 have come in, put the mics everywhere.
Yeah.
And I remember doing that set. And in the middle of that set, I played a track by Dusky, Mr. Man. And it's on SoundCloud. If you go and listen to that set, you can hear when that breaks down, everyone started clapping and cheering and whistling. And there's like a string bit on that tune, that Dusky tune. It goes silent. There's just a string. And it absolutely walloped me, man. I was like, I got really emotional and my lip was like, you know, and I was like, I
amazing.
crouched
Yeah.
down and I'm trying to fucking kick. That's when I thought, I'm actually doing this. My first ever Essential mix that I listened to was Sasha in 1994.
Yeah.
Oh no, Paul Bleasdale from Cream. One of those. 1994 was when I used to listen to it when I was like 16 or whatever. And I was like, I'm actually doing one myself. All these years later,
Yeah.
when I'd grafted and I thought I'd never do it, and now I'm doing it. And I was like, someone give me a shot of tequila. I had a shot of tequila. I came out. If you actually listen to that set, I come out with it with a total curveball, and it slams in and goes. And that mix is online. You can hear it on my SoundCloud from 2012. And that moment for me was like, okay, I've like actually fucking done it. Got to a point where this is going to make me have a good life, you know?
Yeah. Incredible stories. Like, we've spoken to Steve Lawler on his podcast as well. We've heard all about Viva Warriors and stuff like that.
You know, can I say something about Steve? An absolute legend. We don't really speak that much now. I mean, he's moved to Miami and stuff. But if somebody asks me about who gave you a break, I'll always say Steve Lawler. And what I find is that I've got behind a lot of acts and given them the first breakthrough and helped them with agents and this, that, the other. And I can see that when I've been helping them, they're liking posts, commenting and this, that, and then as soon as they get that break, they don't even like a comment. They won't even like it. The Instagram, there'll be nothing.
Yeah.
And when they do interviews, there's one DJ in particular I won't mention, and I won't say he or she because you might be able to work it out. But it was like they did an interview, and they said, "Who helped you?" And then they mentioned all these other big DJs, Martinez Brothers, this, that, the other, Archie Hamilton, and I'm thinking, before you even got with any of those, I gave you your first vinyl release. I put you on a sold-out show in Manchester, Leeds, London, Rinse FM show, all of this stuff. And you can't even mention me in an interview that I got behind you. Because in your mind, you only want to mention the totally up there, hype, cool people.
Yeah.
But I just think it's probably a generational thing. Because I'm still, to Steve, he gave me that break because it's not just about how good you are.
Yeah.
It's about having a platform to show how good you are. And Steve gave me that platform, which I wasn't getting a chance to do because every gig I was doing where I was getting paid 150 quid, I was smashing it.
Yeah.
But I never got it to do it on the big stage. And Steve believed in me, gave me that chance, and I did it. So I'll always be thankful to Steve. And I still say it, and I'm saying it here in this podcast, you know, where I just feel there's a lot of, and it's not just a one-off case. There's a lot, like, with the upcoming acts, they get a little bit of hype and then they haven't even gone that big. But it seems the newer artists, everything's about perception.
Yeah.
And because I'm not totally hype, but when it suits them, I can help them loads.
Yeah.
I can put them on sold-out shows in London and Manchester. I can put them on in Ibiza, which is great shows. But what if they get past that and they get an agent and they've got all of that? Then it's like, I'm only going to cherry pick who might have played my music and only mention the very elite top of the top, you know?
Yeah.
And I see it and I find it amusing, to be honest. I just think it's really... I just find it's a little bit weird. It shouldn't bother me, but I just find it's weird.
Well, I mean, but that's the best. Like, if that's happening, the best way to take it is just find it amusing and not let it like piss you off because it could easily just be like.
These podcasts about being real, right?
Yeah, totally.
So I'm not just going to say about everything that's cool. I'm going to say things that probably bother me a little bit as well.
No, I mean it's all good, and like you say, like people who are coming up through the scene, they should thank for those that have helped them. You know, no matter what, no matter in what case, and you know, even if they're on a hype list or a cool list or whatever, you know, it's like you should just be thankful for those people that gave you the platform.
Mentioned it.
Yeah,
I just
mentioned
it because you mentioned about Steve Lawler and stuff. So yeah, he helped me a lot.
That's excellent. And, and now I do want to talk about Moxy Muzik now. I mean, obviously, you mentioned about the talent that you gave a platform with the label, but it's also, a massive events brand as well. We've been putting on iconic parties all over the world. I mean, well, firstly, how would you describe Moxy Muzik as kind of a brand and entity? What does it stand for?
Okay, so I moved away from Do Not Sleep
Hmm.
because although it started off with the music that I was feeling about, I had a hand in the lineups and I had a hand in curating the sound and everything and the label. But over time, it became by the others involved. To me, something that I wasn't really feeling. It just seemed like it was like booking people who was just hype and selling tickets. So sometimes I found myself playing with techno DJs, which the techno I like is the Detroit techno stuff, Claude Young, Derek May, that kind of shit, right? The
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
funky, groovy techno. And it was just noise, bang, bang. And I'm thinking, I've got a post here, excited to play with. I'm not fucking excited to play with this DJ at all. So I thought, right, I'm going to move on and start Moxy. So
mm,
I did. I mean, ironically now that party is booking the sound that I like, but because it's hype, I guess, but it's cool. I wanted
yeah,
to start Moxy and I wanted it to be me totally. And the thing is with Moxy, if you look, it doesn't stick to necessarily one sound,
hmm,
but it all has that kind of vibe, which for me is about music has to have soul, not
yeah,
just noise. Can't be forced drum rolls and noises and shit to make a reaction. It has to have soul. So you can have soulful techno record, you can have a soulful house record, you can have soulful garage, but it also needs to have energy. So there's garage on Moxy, there's minimal on Moxy, there's house on Moxy, there's tech house on Moxy, there's jacking records, which go back to like the old Derek Carter, Chicago house vibes. A lot of that, to be honest, on Beatport, I think we were the third biggest label in 2024 on there, like they did their awards thing.
yeah,
Um, we didn't even post about it. Forgot. It's just keeping it real,
yeah,
you know. Um, and we're not trying to be number one. And
mm,
we still press vinyl and we still shift a lot of vinyl and we do really
yeah,
well with the vinyl.
yeah,
It just, all the fans of Moxie are organic. Everything's real. Um, we don't mass market it and we get behind upcoming acts. There's a lot, most of the releases that upcoming acts, and there's so many who've gone on to smash it. They started off with Moxie, and that's what it's about. But we do the parties. Our off Sonar party, annual pool party that we do, sold out in like a few days.
yeah,
Um, it's always a mad rush for like tickets that people want. So we put on a second party at Mr. Porter in June, which is the 11th on a Wednesday as well
hmm,
of June. And I'm actually playing with an upcoming act I want to mention, Fletch.
uh-huh,
Um, if you don't know who Fletch is, check him out because
okay,
I put him. He had a release on Moxie back in October,
mm,
uh, and since then he's gone touring with another, No Art and all those
yeah,
guys, which they're proper house heads, my
yeah,
favorite artists and stuff. And it's great to see. And he's one of the acts which I think is going to do really, really well. But booked him, Olive F, of course, who's smashing it as well. We've got Waff as well, and Dale Hart and Hartley, she's smashing it. So that's the typical Moxie lineup.
yeah,
No big A-listers, but a lot of good DJs,
yeah, uh-huh.
doing some in Ibiza. So yeah, that's what Moxie's about, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. And like you say that you still press up vinyl and things like that. In terms of when you're DJing and you're playing a gig, like how do you sit on the whole kind of vinyl revival? Well, I mean, people call it vinyl revival. Vinyl is back, right? In a good sense. Are you militant about, oh, I've got to play
No,
some stuff on vinyl? Like, how does that work? You just happy not to carry a
no.
record box around anymore?
Um, if you've got to look at how expensive vinyl is,
Hmm.
if you're going to be all militant about it, people in Romania who can't afford decks. Actually, ironically, Romanians play loads of vinyl, don't they? I use another example. You could be in like Peru,
Hmm.
right? Um, the difference in exchange rate for them to buy a vinyl is like paying 120 quid
Yeah.
if we pay like 7 quid. So you can't expect those people, and you want music for them as well. But I still press vinyl just because I think it's an art form that is going to soon be extinct. You know, DJs don't. I don't even use record box, to be honest. So even if you press the sync button, it doesn't work because it's not synced in record box. So I just want to DJ how I did when I played vinyl and manually mix, right?
Yeah.
So with vinyl, having a record shop, I just feel that it's something that I want to keep going. But ironically, I thought I'll probably lose money, but I'll still do it. But we make money with vinyl because, like I said, a lot of Moxy fans are like hardcore real fans, and there's enough of them out there to be on the same wave as us, you know. Phonica, there's even a rack. There's a Moxy Muzik Darius Syrossian rack in Phonica. And you know what Phonica are like about music. So
that's another level of you've definitely made it.
Yeah. And when I go in, there's like a fuse section, there's a Moxy section, there's all the like cool pearl on, those like Zip and those guys, and there's a Darius Syrossian Moxy, and I'm like, that's cool as fuck. They shift a lot of units as well. But I'm not militant. I don't think DJs who play vinyl are better than anybody else at all. That's bullshit. And at the end of the day, the main thing about DJing is reading a crowd and knowing how to apply your music, which is your sound, into that situation. You could be playing to 2,000 people at a festival, 350 people in an intimate club. Apply what you have musically to that, and so keep your eyes open, look at the crowd. One thing I do fucking hate is RMX. I fucking hate them. You don't need a drum roll. The track is made how it's made, right?
Yeah.
You don't need to add fucking bullshit to it. It's like going into a fucking Michelin star restaurant, right? Going into the kitchen and start adding more salt and more herbs and saying, yeah, this is that. No, it's done. That's made. You now mix them together. Don't start fucking with the tune.
You're so right.
And I also, they're always plugged in front of me. And I'm trying to look at the crowd and it's right there. So it's taking up 40% of my view. I'm like, can you get rid of this RMX, please? It does my head and I hate them.
That's amazing. Yeah, brilliant advice. Look, I mean, we've got to motor through this a little bit, but we're at that point now where we're going to talk about the tracks for the playlist, our House Culture Perfect playlist. So this is where every single guest on this podcast, we've done over 80 episodes now, has submitted the 5 tracks for this playlist based on the 5 different themes. You were really cool. You've actually sent me the files of the tracks as well, which is even better, especially as there's a couple of special little bits in there as well. So we always talk about a catalyst tune, a tune that kind of opened your ears to electronic music. And you know, when you told me, well, when the file came through, I was very happy to see this one on there. It's the club mix of Hallelujah by Happy Mondays, which is I had to double check it because I'm like, I'm sure Paul Oakenfold did the mix on this, and it's actually Oakenfold and Andy Weatherall on the mix. It says, which is insane. But yeah, tell us why you chose that.
Well, when I came to England, obviously rave hadn't took off yet. Acid house culture was happening. I was a kid. I wasn't old enough to go even to pubs. So I knew I liked electronic music. So I'd listen to Radio 1 at night and I'd listen to John Peel. And he'd put on stuff like this. And I remember Happy Mondays, actually by 1989, they had a track which was in the charts, Step On. I'm like, oh my God, this is fucking great. This is great. It's like the beat and the groove and the pianos and the da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, it had a rave vibe to it. Obviously, it's Paul Oakenfold and those guys were doing it. And then my friends at college, obviously we weren't going to raves yet. We went to, we'd heard rave music, but we tried to find cassettes to hear them. But Happy Mondays were touring, so we'd go to like Leicester de Montfort University. And I remember when this come on, I felt like I was at a rave. And the vocalist, how can I forget her name?
Oh, Rowetta, is it? No,
Rowetta.
Yeah.
Those screams she do. This is great, man. And I'd hear this tune and I'd be like, well, fucking hell. And this led me to search for more where this is involved. And obviously, Happy Mondays had a hand in the acid house scene in Hacienda, Manchester, didn't it, and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So this, for me, was how I found out about the roots of electronic music that led to raves and that kind of shit for me.
Great choice. I love it. Yeah, like you say, it's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, that piercing vocal at the beginning
Yeah.
is incredible. Okay, so a floor filler. You've chosen a Moxy Muzik track. It's Harlem Lights. It's from yourself. Why does that one stand out for you?
Well, do you know what it is, right? This came out in lockdown, so it
Mm-hmm.
completely went under the radar.
Yeah.
Didn't get to play at clubs. DJs got the promo. Didn't even download it because they had no gigs to play at. But when I go to somewhere, I've been in Chicago and people go, Darius, that Harlem Lights tune. And I'm like, yeah, cool. I'll be at a gig and after party in Southampton. Mate, that Harlem Lights. People always mention it. And I thought, I can't re-release it. But for me, I like the fact that most people don't know it.
Yeah.
And without fail, it tears it up big time. And I can see when I play it, everyone's got the fucking Shazam out in the crowd.
Awesome.
It goes off that,
Yeah,
and it drops. And I made it because I in lockdown I was so frustrated, and I wanted to make something that had that energy. Because in lockdown everyone was making chill music for people to like, and I think that's why that whole sound became big, that minimal with fluffy pads. Because when you're sitting at home, chilling with your cat, or like washing up and you got the tunes on, that's nice.
Yeah.
But it ain't nice for when you're in the club, right? So I wanted to make something like bam, that fucks you in the face. Sorry, I just use better words than that. Slaps you in the face when, you know, like bam, when you're in a club. So, you know, it
awesome.
Fucking gives it a bit of wallop.
Wallop indeed. Okay, a Sunsetter. Changing pace now. Yeah, you've gone for Dave Lee's Laticam Boogie, the Crackerzat remix.
Yeah, if you don't know who Crackerzat is, you need to find out. He's obviously qualified jazz musician. He plays keys perfectly, but I got him on Moxy actually, and I was surprised he said yes, because with us doing like loads of music which is like aimed at the kids at the dance floor as well as the cool stuff, like for the more, you know, heads. He said yeah, which was cool. He did a brilliant remix for us. But this tune, I always play it closing my sets out, letting people have a breathe, a lot of soul, piano, feel good, but cool. But I did a couple of Mambo sets where I dropped this at sunset, and it did really well. So this is why this went in.
Perfect. Cool. Okay, so the tearjerker, and this is the special one. You've sent me your own short edit because the original is like absolutely epic in length. Is Pachanga Boys Time.
Yeah, I wouldn't actually call it a tearjerker because it doesn't make me sad in a sense where I feel like I want to cry, but it makes me emotional in a sense that whenever I listen to this, I always think about my life, you know, and what I said at the beginning of the show as well. I heard this first in 2012, and I had a villa, and I'd sit there at sunset, and I'd put tunes like this on. I've got a playlist, and this used to come on, and I used to think about the relief of how my life could have been so much different. And I don't just mean 9-to-5 job different.
Yeah.
I could have been dead in a fucking war and in bombs and air raids and shit. And how I came to England and I hated it. So I could have been bitter about everyone calling me terrorist and shit like this. And except music gave me a chance to meet people like-minded like myself who are about, obviously house music brings people together. Most people who are into house music about the unity of it and, you know, the togetherness of that, and that's what music does, brings people together. So house music saved me, really. My older brother's got post-traumatic stress disorder. We had the same upbringing. He's still affected by it. So I truly believe music really helped me. And when I hear this tune, it makes me feel like what a relief that music saved me. But also, like, even now, what's happening now, I see what's going on in Palestine. and I've
Mm-hmm.
talked about it. I don't care. What's happening is not about saving Jewish people. I've actually got a grandparent who's got Jewish ancestry, and I don't believe in organized religion. I'm agnostic. I'm spiritual. I believe in a God, but I believe as humans we don't know what that God is and stuff. So I've got respect for all religions, Jews, Muslims, Christians. They all believe in the same thing. It's the
Mm-hmm.
same God if you actually follow the story. It's
Yeah.
just that the elites and billionaires have found a reason to hijack the Jewish religion to make money, because the Middle East, there's 1.3 trillion cubic meters of natural gas off the coast of Gaza.
Mm.
And this was discovered not long before October 7th. And I see what's happening to those people, what they're going through is kind of. I was in air raids for 8 years, but it was nowhere near intense like that.
Yeah.
So I understand how it affected me and my family. How it probably affects those is just not doesn't bear thinking about.
No.
And I feel when I listen to tunes like this, I always reflect on injustice in the world, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I don't do enough to help. I give to charity all the time and stuff, and I've given. Goodness knows how many times I've been donated to this cause, but I think it makes you reflect about how lucky you are of what you've got.
Yeah.
So not in a sad way, more of a
Yeah.
happy, thank fuck, music saved me kind of way.
Yeah. Yeah. Just in a kind of reflective way, and looking at how it has
Yeah.
saved you. Well, look.
Sorry if
Yeah.
that
I mean,
was a long answer.
no, 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 no. That's all good. It's getting into the bones of it is really, really good to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so a last tune. You've played an amazing gig somewhere. Crowd are asking for one more.
Mm.
This, oh man, even the intro to this is brilliant. So hearing this from the off, yeah, the Todd Terry "Keep on Jumping," the Rhythm Masters thumping mix. Oh man.
Yeah, you know what? It still goes off. It's never going to leave the box.
Mm-hmm.
I still play it all the time. Um, just the energy of it. It's
The
thumping.
beats
It's
on it
actually
are
called
just insane.
Hey.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
beats just yeah.
yeah. It's never going to leave the box.
Mm-hmm.
It You can't not end the set with energy like this, I think. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, certainly when I was just flicking through all the tracks that you sent me the other day, I was like, I got to that one. I just had to listen to the whole thing like twice in a row, just being like this with my headphones. It was great. It was
Yeah,
awesome. Loved it. Cool. Well, look, yeah, that was the last tune, and this is the final question that we always
yeah.
ask all of our guests. This is obviously the House Culture podcast, and we are House Culture. It's not just about the music for us; it's about the art, the fashion, the personalities, the scene as a whole. When you think of house music as a cultural movement, what does house culture and the culture of the scene mean to you?
House culture and the scene. It's about unity, being as one, bringing people together, and enjoying and celebrating life. Um, like I said before, as an Iranian coming to England in the 80s and feeling like an outsider, but music kind of made me not feel like an outsider. And it changed my life. I won the Best of British Awards, DJ Mag Best of British Awards in 2014, and I went from being a kid and people not accepting me to the youth of the country voting me as the number one that year in 2014. That's what it's about, bringing people together who don't care about politics, religion, fucking any of that, but just enjoying music and enjoying life and being all as one.
What an answer!
It might sound cheesy, but it's true.
It's so true. It's so true, and you've summed it up perfectly. That is brilliant. Thank you so much.
Cool. Thanks for having us, man. I'm going to check out your other. I hadn't come across it, and then Dukesy sent me the link. And I listened to a few of them, and they're brilliant. So I'm going to listen to them.
Thank you so much. That's really kind of you to say. Yeah, I mean, we've been doing it a while now, so we've got a massive bunch of guests that we've done. So yeah, just get stuck in.